To my will. In the end. No! My power! It can't. Divinity was almost mine.
What's up guys, GreatMaxV here and welcome back to another VRising video. In today's video, we're going to be covering the highly requested pistols, and I've actually got two different build versions for you guys. We have a version A, which is going to offer some more damage, but arguably be a little bit more difficult to play. And then we have version B, which is going to be easier to play, but be a little bit less damage. So what are we doing for this one? So for version A, we are using Veil of Chaos, Power Surge, and Lightning Curtain, and I'll throw those jewels on the screen for you now. For Blood, we are doing Rogue Blood with the Tier 1 Secondary of Warrior. For our jewels, or our passives here, we actually have Lightning Fast Strikes, Sanguine Mastery, Blood Spray, Rampage, and Lethal Strikes. And then for our armor, we are doing 2-piece Dread and 2-piece Dracula. Now, where this build varies is actually the elixir, amulet, and then our longbow here. So to explain these really quick, we are doing the Crimson Commander, and then we are running this one with Elixir of the Raven. And then for our longbow, we are using a Condemn Infused Longbow with crit chance, bonus physical power, and weapon skill power. And then also, I forgot our Endbringers here. This weapon does not change. We are using attack speed, bonus physical power, and weapon skill power for this one. So to get into the details of our stats, as you can see, we have our bonus physical power completely maxed out. We have attack speed kind of in the Goldilocks zone that I like. We're around that 126 to 130 range. And this will go up once you start critting with Rampage. As you can see there, we shoot up to 138, which is great. And then we have max crit chance, about 166% physical crit power. And then we have around 139, just 1% off there of our weapon skill power. So how does this version of the build play? Well, what you're going to want to do is whenever you're getting into a big pack of mobs, you're going to, of course, throw down that, apply your Power Surge, throughout the Condemn, and then you are just attacking like normal. Now, if you're wondering why all of those got Chaos applied, that's just from our Power Surge. It's going to apply Chaos to any weapon, ability, or auto attack that you do. So in a lot of cases, you can actually throw out that Q from the longbow, and even that will just outright clear the pack still. But I love this build, man. This thing is fast-paced. It does a ton of damage, and as you can see there, we're just laying on the pain. I've seen some really big pops with this, guys. I've gotten like 270s with the ease. Look at that. There was a 258 there, so it does chunk. Now, the idea behind these builds is to primarily be more mob grinding focused. So this is going to be your build for clearing rifts, grinding Silverlight, grinding the new zone out front, in Oakvale and all that. But it does do a decent job of doing bosses as well. As you saw, we were able to do Megara, but it is a little bit more difficult to do those bosses with these defensives. So that said, what are the differences for the build 2? So for build version 2 or B, we're actually going to be using Bloodright. And I will put that jewel on the screen now. There is no change to passives, no change to our blood, but we do a different amulet here. We're actually going to be doing Amulet of the Blade Master. And if I can get a elixir, for this elixir, we're going to be doing Elixir of the Werewolf. And then, of course, our bow is going to be swapped off of Condemn for the static bow. Now, you could opt to keep the Condemn bow, but the reason why I've swapped to the static here is because outside of that, the only way we have to apply that static is through our amulet, which, if you did not know, if I can get it to proc here, let's see if it'll pop up. There it is. the only way to get static on mobs with the amulet is to kind of walk into them with those little ball lightning. So this just gives you a way to apply it from range whenever you have that static inflict, but you could do the other. Now there's no real difference in between how these guys play. You're still going to have the blood coating to pop sanguine mastery. You're still going to be laying down heavy damage. The only difference is that before you go and fight a big mob pack, you want to throw out that Q first and then proceed to lay down damage so that you you know, have that static applied. And as you can see, this does still hit pretty hard. We got a 201 there. So not bad, guys. That is pretty much it. Now, as far as how I would play these builds for leveling, really, there's not really much you need to change. The jewels that you can use either version and do just fine. The way we're doing and layering our effects here with the ignite, with the static and condemn is just going to make it a pretty easy time for bossing. Now, if you are going to craft one of these early sets, I would of course recommend you get the Blood Hunter chest card. That's going to give you some additional weapon power that is going to be nice for the build. And then of course you just scale that into your full dread set until you get the Dracula's dread there. Amulets here, for early game amulets, I would use just the either the Pendant of the Warrior here, and that's just going to get you some leech applied so that you can proc your sanguine mastery, or you could also opt to use the Pendant of the Duskwatcher to get that static applied. So whichever build variant you're doing there, that you would just use that necklace accordingly. Alright guys, I actually almost forgot to tell you how to unlock these spells. So through the leveling process, you are going to have access to version B first. So that's going to be the more tanky option there. And you'll of course have that blood right coming out of the tutorial zone, but you can get your power surge early on from Errol. It just takes a tier 1 chaos point. You're going to get your dash online, Veil of Chaos, there in Act 2. This is going to be through Jade. And then at the start of Act 3, you can get your tier 2 lightning spell point to do the curtain from either Domina or Ziva. Alright guys, we have jumped over here to the Cyril fight. Now we're going to be doing this in just pretty much base gear. We have just iron weapons. We're doing base Hollow Fang, and then we have the Pendant of the Duskwatcher. For our jewels, we have no spell jewels. We have no passives, and I've just put on Soul Drinker there just to get rid of them. And that is pretty much it. Now, the idea behind this fight, and the reason why we're taking him on, like, what is that? I don't know how many levels lower. I'll put it on the screen. But the reason why we're taking him on so low level is because he's pretty easy to do. It's actually the level I usually take him on at. And I'm going to show you a trick you can do. As you can see, I've already preemptively cleared this, but you can actually just kite him along this back path here and, you know, fight him pretty easily. Now, I'm going to be trying to do this without my ultimate, and I've put on the Blasphemous there just to get rid of the Werewolf Elixir I had. But the idea is, you know, you'll kite him along there. If you get low, you'll Heart Strike through all the things. And then as you're kiting him, you're going to want to be throwing out your Reaper, preferably with the static, and that's just going to do a ton of damage. But let's go ahead and show you how the fight works. Pretty straightforward boss. He's going to do that ground smash. You can throw out your Reaper once he's done. You're going to take some damage. Now with this one, on the third hit, he's going to launch forward. And that is pretty wide. Try not to get hit by that like I did. But now we can go ahead and start kiting him this way. You don't have to wait too long here. I'm going to hit again. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go back here now because I don't want to take too much damage. But there's one other thing you need to be mindful of, and he'll do it here in a moment. But this one. So that ability will go through walls. So you just need to be mindful of that when you're kiting him back here. You can hear it when he does it, but you just want to make sure you kind of move because it does suck to get hit by it. Now, I am going to be doing mostly longbow here, just because the longbow pierces and it's a bit easier to get the damage down on the range. Oh my gosh, he tagged me again there. I might have to ult. Go ahead and move. Get that one off of me. You also want to be leaving those on the trail whenever you can. Give you that pop up and come around. Now at this point I would probably ult through him to dodge all these things, but I'm gonna try to just walk. That way you guys see me not use the ult. I'm not getting any extra help here.
I can create and destroy.
This is probably going to be a little bit easier with the Bloodright, just because it's a little wonky to get the static with the curtain down. Gonna roll that. But as you can see, I mean, pretty straightforward. You just kind of take them out slowly. I'll probably skip some of this just to keep it from being too long of a fight, but we're gonna roll that. Oh, had the wrong weapon out. Alright, now you do want to take your time here. I got a little low, so I did some blood mending. But okay. Now, full disclosure, I did actually die to this guy, but I came back because I wanted to show that you can actually do this. It just takes a bit of patience, but it's entirely possible to do this guy this early. Alright, one more here. Oh, don't die again. Where's my weapon? My weapon keybinds are all over the place. There we go. Alright, so a little bit dicey. You can of course craft some more armor if you are struggling with this guy, but entirely doable at this range. Now for brutal, probably not. I probably wouldn't risk this at brutal without upgrading my armor, but that is at least the gist. Alright guys, and that is going to do it for today's video. I think this one is a lot of fun, but let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, thank you so much for watching. This is GrimXV, signing off.